So... what's our next move?
Pack it up, you guys are done.
Well, I'm sorry. What are you talking about?
It's over, okay? So just tell those other guys to run while they can, however they can, yeah?
Hold on, that's it? Aren't you the one who recruited us to fight your fucking fight?
We have been risking our lives for a year. Dumpster diving and sleeping in cars, and we're happy to do it.
Because we want to help.
What good's all that power, Marie, if you can't control it?
We're not gonna stop fighting.
Then you're fucking naive.
Come on in.
Gen V is a very unique show in the sense that the way that it got violated, I've never seen that in any show. Not even just sequels. Like, there are sequels that are really, really, really bad to the point in which get cancelled. There's also good sequels that do happen to get cancelled. And of course, you also have original shows that are really, really bad to the point in which they got cancelled. And then you have original shows that are still good, but still get cancelled. There's a lot of reasons, obviously, for this to happen. Obviously, if they're really bad, then the ratings are going to be really bad. Therefore meaning they're not going to get much money, and obviously shows will get cancelled. Now, I don't really believe that's the case for Gen V because I believe that it did moderately well, and it's obviously not a bad show. The thing that makes Gen V really unique is the fact that, for one, it got cancelled. I'm assuming because they genuinely don't know exactly how to go forward with the show, and obviously they're trying to build up hype for Vote Rising. But Gen V somehow got cancelled and made redundant in a couple of months. Because the show got cancelled, season 2 is now technically the final season, even though it doesn't really feel like it's the final season. But technically speaking, it is the final season, and it's a sequel show within the universe of The Boys. But the whole season, in the grand scheme of things, especially with regards to The Boys universe, it didn't matter. It didn't impact anything. Nothing we got from season 2 of Gen V mattered. Obviously, season 2 of Gen V, just like with The Boys finale, had a very anticlimactic ending. It wasn't really a bad ending, it just felt like, okay, the show just ended. There's not really much complexity with regards to exactly how the ending happened. It just kind of ended. The powerful character beats the less powerful character. That was kind of it. But anyone that sat through season 2 of Gen V automatically assumed that this is basically just a brief pause. We're going to continue the storyline, obviously in season 5 of The Boys, because that's exactly what happened in season 4 of The Boys. Anyway, season 1 of Gen V tied into season 4. And especially based on the way that season 2 of Gen V was going, it was very evident and very likely that Marie would play a massive role with regards to the battle between Homelander and every single superhero. Obviously the ones that aren't aligned with The Boys. And the past precedent of that actually happening isn't really the main reason why I would believe that Gen V characters will play a big role with regards to the final season of The Boys. The reason why I would believe that is simply the way that they were making Marie into being a powerful soup, almost as powerful as Homelander. As in season 2 was literally constantly telling us that Marie is in the same tier as Homelander. Like every episode, everyone's been talking about Marie is powerful, Marie is this, Marie is the next coming of Homelander. Not mentally, of course, but with regards to her powers. She's a powerful Project Odessa baby. She is specifically designed to be a god tier soup, as in that was the whole purpose of the project in the first place. So we thought that she would play a massive role with regards to the fight against Homelander. But she didn't. She only appeared in 2 scenes in the entirety of season 5. And none of them were fight scenes. Because when they exclude somebody that powerful, especially at the level of Marie, it wouldn't make much sense as to the fact that Butcher and Ryan are somehow able to hold down Homelander. I think even Homelander pre-V1 should be able to handle his own against both of them. With V1, he should be able to do that relatively easy. But for some reason, he couldn't. He wasn't nerfed in any way. They didn't use any of the virus against him. They didn't use anything against him that could at least decrease Homelander's ability a little bit, make him a lot less powerful than he actually is. But again, they won very easily. There was a point in which even Ryan was able to outpace Homelander, who was trying to escape. Again, this is V1 Homelander, who was supposed to be a lot more powerful than regular Homelander. especially seeing as they were propping up V1 to be the end of the world if Homelander gets his hands on it. They tried to write in a justification by having one of the scenes be Starlight telling Marie that what good exactly is her powers if she can't control it, which doesn't really make much sense, especially for people that actually wrote Gen V, because that was the whole purpose of season 2. As in, Marie's whole arc in season 2 was simply her trying to control her powers. Not only that, but understand exactly the full extent of her powers. Like, I mean, Marie went from accidentally killing people by shooting them with blood to be able to blow up V1 characters from the inside within the same season. So yeah, she can control powers. The only problem that Marie had is, obviously at the start, she couldn't control powers, and throughout season 2, she didn't know exactly the full extent of her powers. But she is by far more powerful than Starlight. She would be a far bigger asset to the fight against Homelander's allies than Starlight is. In fact, I can go as far as to say that she'll be a bigger asset to the group, especially with regards to power, than every single member on that group except for Kimiko at the very end. Simple reason being, she should be the most powerful character there. Obviously, the only argument being Butcher. But even with him, they need a crazy amount of plot armor for him to fight Homelander at the very end, who was supposed to be on V1, but Butcher had a much better showing against him than he did against Bombsai, which makes no sense because Bombsai was losing to Soldier Boy, who was shown to be weaker than Homelander before he even took V1. And for some reason, Butcher was shown to be as strong, if not stronger than V1 Homelander. Like, I mean, the main complaint for the final battle in the season finale, in fact, the series finale of The Boys, the battle that led to Homelander's death, was that it was purely plot armor that these people actually came out there alive. Because they shouldn't be. Not because they're not really that powerful, but because of the things that it made Homelander do, or things that Homelander couldn't do. Like, for example, Butcher's tentacles being faster than V1 Homelander is so much stronger than himself on 10V, Huey on 10V, and Soldier Boy, who has V1, combined. Because those three couldn't hold down Homelander before he got V1, and for some reason, after he got V1, Butcher was somehow able to. This same Butcher, who was shown to be weaker than Soldier Boy on his own, is now being able to hold down Homelander, who's trying to fly away. The fight will make complete sense if you just add Marie to it. Not saying that you should replace any of them with Marie because, of course, Butcher needs to be there, narratively, of course. And so does Ryan, and obviously Kimiko is there for the sole purpose of the blast. But if you add Marie there, then you actually will have the fight make any sense based on the fact that they were able to hold down Homelander for Kimiko to be able to blast him. But again, even though it was specifically made to be that Homelander will be way too powerful with V1, not only the fact that he's basically immortal, but because he will be a lot more powerful, he's going to be a lot more stronger, his laser is going to be a lot more powerful. But none of that was the case, other than the fact that he was immortal. V1 was supposed to make him more powerful, but for some reason they just had to nerf him because they wanted him to die for the show to end. Which again is fine, but if you're going to have him lose, make his loss believable. Him losing is fine, but at least make his loss believable. As in, make it canonically consistent. Don't make a point in which Homelander is somehow weaker just because they need him to lose. Like I said earlier on, why not just wrap up Gen V by having Marie play a massive role in the downfall of Homelander? Seeing as, for one, her entire character arc is specifically based on the premise of her powers being similar to Homelander. Not in the sense that they have a similar ability, but in the sense that they have a similar power level, or at least a similar potential. By having her there, it will complete a character arc instead of it completing in season 2 of Gen V. Anyways, the last thing that she did was kill Godolkin, which is fine, but that does not complete a character arc because a character arc is specifically based on the premise of her being another Homelander. That was her whole character, her proximity to Homelander. That was the whole build-up to her character throughout the entirety of season 2 of Gen V. But again, that entire season was pretty much made redundant for no reason. In fact, every single member from the God U team would be very beneficial in the fight against Homelander and his allies. You have Kay, who is now an OP psychic, although we didn't really get much to her potential as in what exactly she's capable of doing now, but based on how exactly Marie was able to heal a lot of people and make them a lot more powerful, simply by healing the things that were holding them back, Kate is probably a lot more powerful than she ever was. You also have Jordan Lee, who is a powerful ranged and close range fighter, and also very durable. And then you have Polarity, who's also very powerful soup. And then you have Sam, who was literally able to no-diff Kimiko. Although right now Sam is a little bit weaker than he normally would be. simply because his brain is now normal. So yeah, there's a lot of Gen V characters who would have been useful against Homelander and his allies. Obviously, they won't be able to go up against Homelander directly because they're still nowhere near as powerful as Homelander or even anywhere near as powerful as Marie. But it would have been great to have them do anything in this season because their storylines kind of just ended abruptly. And obviously, Marie's storyline barely ended. Somebody that's capable of resurrecting someone, somebody that's capable of one-shotting a V1 soup to death, by the way, as in full-on blew him up from the inside, definitely has control over their powers, and her storyline should have ended with her playing a role in the defeat of Homelander. But anyways, this is just a quick rant about the boys, and if you like the video then just like and subscribe.